Have you ever wondered what really happened between Mufasa? We all know the story. Mufasa, the noble king, and Scar, the jealous, power. But the tale of their rivalry is far deeper and more tragic than. It's a story of brotherhood, betrayal, and a kingdom torn apart. Today, we're diving deep into the Pride Lands to uncover the hidden history of the throne. Let's go back. Mufasa as success, not as a triumph for the kingdom, but as a personal insult. Mufasa was the firstborn, destined. He was strong, charismatic, and naturally took to the responsibilities. He was the golden child, literally and figuratively, basking in the light of his. By placing Simba in the gorge and orchestrating the wildebeest stampede, he created a crisis. The name Taka itself means dirt or waste in Swahili, a heavy burden for a young prince. Can you imagine growing up in the shadow of a brother who seemed to have it all, while your very name suggested you? The relationship wasn't always hateful. In their youth, they were brothers. They played, they explored, but the seeds of resentment were Mufasa, being the future king, was often praised and Taka, on the other hand, was left to find, often feeling like a second-class citizen in it. This constant comparison, this feeling of inadequacy, began. The turning point, the moment that shattered their brotherhood and forged Scar, is a story off. According to the expanded universe, in the Lion Guard, a young Taka was desperate to prove his worth. He believed if he could outsmart Mufasa, he could finally earn something. He met three hyenas: Shenzi, Bonzi, and Adu. Weren't the bumbling fools we see later, but cunning, and they convinced Taka that if he could get Mufasa to look foolish, their father would see Taka. Their plan was to lure Mufasa into a confrontation with a furious water buffalo named Boma. Taka was supposed to lead Mufasa away before he got hurt, but the plan backfired. Mufasa escaped, but the enraged buffalo turned on Taka, slashing him across the eye with his horn. This was the origin of his fate. When Taka returned to Pride Rock, wounded and defeated, he Instead, his father, King Ahadi, not only had the plan endangered the future king, but it was reckless. It was in this moment of pain and humiliation that Taka made a decision. He rejected. From that day forward, he would be known only as Scar. Visible reminder of his pain and his brother's perceived betrayal. He embraced the darkness that had been growing. As they grew into adults, the rift. Mufasa became the king we all know and love, wise, just, and respectful. He was a great ruler, maintaining the circle of life and ensuring the Pride Land. He had everything: the throne, the respect of his subjects, and a beautiful queen. His life was a picture. Scar, meanwhile, retreated further into. Esau Mufasa as success, not as a triumph for the kingdom, but as a person. Every cheer for Mufasa was a jeer at his own failure. He surrounded himself with the outcasts, the hyenas, promising them a future where their bellies would never. He fed their grievances, and they, in turn, fed his ego, and his intelligence, once a source of potential, became a tool for manipulation and deceit. He wasn't just jealous of Mufasa. He was jealous of the love and respect Mufasa commanded so effortlessly. The birth of Simba was the For years, Scar had clung to a slip. As the king's only brother, he was next in line. It was his one claim to relevance, his one path to the power he so desperate. But then Simba was born, and that path was blue. The presentation of Simba at Pride Rock wasn't just a joyous ceremony for Scar. It was a public declaration of his permanent irrelevance. He was no longer the heir apparent. This is where Scar's plan truly began. He couldn't challenge Mufasa in a fair fight. Mufasa was stronger, a better fighter, and had the loyalty of the entire. So Scar did what he did best. He used his intellect to orchestrate a plot so devious, so cold-hearted, that it would change the pride. He preyed on Simba's innocence and curiosity. a twisted echo of how he himself was manipulated. He filled Simba's head with tales of the elephant, knowing the young prince's adventurous spirit would lead him straight. This first attempt, designed to have the hyenas, was thwarted by Mufasa in a spectacular show of strength and fatherly devotion. But this failure only hardened Scar's resolve. His master plan was brilliant in it. By placing Simba in the gorge and orchestrating the wildebeest stampede, he created a crisis. Only Mufasa. He manipulated his brother's greatest strength, his love for his son, and turned it into his fatal. Think about that moment. Mufasa, exhausted but triumphant, having saved his son, he looks up and sees. For a split second, there must have been relief. "Brother, help me." It's a plea not just for physical help, but for the brother he once knew, the Taka who existed before the bitterness took over. And he digs his claws in, leans close, and utters those chilling words. It's the culmination of a lifetime of jealousy, resentment. In that one act, he doesn't just... he kills any last shred of the person he used to be. He throws Mufasa into the stamp, sealing his own fate as a tyrant. The tragedy of Mufasa and Scar is not just about a good king it's the story of two brothers set on different paths from birth. It's a cautionary tale about how when left to fester, can rot a person from... Mufasa's reign represented balance, respect for the circle of life, and the strength of community. Scar's reign, born from murder and represented the opposite: chaos, gluttony, and the destruction that comes when the natural order is broken. Under Scar, the pride, the hyenas, now in power, overhunted, and the lush savanna turned into a barren... It's a powerful metaphor. When leadership is corrupt and selfish, the land itself, the kingdom Mufasa had so carefully nurtured, was destroyed in a matter. The story of Mufasa and Scar is a timeless tragedy of what could have been. What if Taka had been shown? What if his intelligence had been nurtured for good instead of being dismissed? But their story serves as a powerful reminder of the darkness that can grow in the shadow of a throne, and the devastating consequences of a brother. What do you think? Could Scar's path have been different, or was he always destined for... Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this deep dive, make sure to like and subscribe for more stories behind your favorite